Okay, everybody, we're back. Brand new Cabral concept. These are the Cabral HouseCalls each and every weekend, answering about a dozen total questions from our community. Excited to get into today's questions. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday. If you missed it, all the previous shows are at stevencabral.com/podcasts. Let's dive right into it. All questions relating to wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, healthy biohacking, all those things combined. We love being able to get to your questions. Your questions are answered in the order they come in, and no previous prep is done. I just get the questions for the very first time today, and I try to rely on the past 25 years of working with clients and hundreds of thousands of people. So excited to get to your questions. Cindy's up first. Cindy says, I've battled diarrhea, loose stool for several years, and despite all kinds of stool testing in various diagnoses, I finally diagnosed myself with bile acid malabsorption. I have the classic symptoms. They put me on medication for it, and it's controlling the diarrhea. But I'm wondering if I will have to take medication for the rest of my life, or is there a cure? Okay, great question. And the nice thing is this, is that there is always an answer, always an answer. So bile acid malabsorption. So one of the issues that we might be looking at is improper balance of, there's a few things, and I'm going to name them for you right now. I think you did stool testing, which is great. So you looked at the bacteria in your gut. Do you have the proper amount of small intestinal bacteria and large intestinal bacteria? Great. So we got to look at that. Short chain fatty acid production, we look at that. Then we also look at yeast. Is there any yeast candida overgrowth? I'm sure you looked at that. Good. Now we want to look at H. pylori. Is there any H. pylori? Yes or no? I don't know. Maybe you tested for that. Maybe you didn't. If you didn't, I would check for it. Parasites, I would check for that. I'm sure you did. You probably don't have those, or you'd be working on them. Then I want to move upstream to acid production in the stomach. So this is important. So if you are producing a good amount of stomach acid, but not enough bile, you will end up with loose stool. All right, that's important. If you're overproducing bile and you're not able to absorb it, reabsorb it as well, because bile is reabsorbed as it moves through the intestine, that can be an issue as well. I would look at, so just a couple things you can do. First of all, I have to give you my disclaimer. I can't provide you with any medical advice, medical cures, medical diagnosis, or medical treatments of any kind. I would look into the show that I did on the amazing liver and gallbladder cleanse. It's been around for hundreds and thousands of years. It's been used, might be something worth looking into. I would look into doing a functional medicine detox if you haven't done for those longer intermittent fasts during those days. I would look at using things like ginger tea. I would look at maybe slippery elm or a healthy belly that we have over at Equilife. I would look at healthy gut support. So I would start to look at what could the underlying root cause be. I don't have any of your labs in front of me, so this is so difficult for me to, I'm just kind of guessing and putting ideas out there for you based on what it could be, what some solutions may be, and even things like adding psyllium husk or more fiber. But psyllium husk is very good at absorbing, would be very helpful potentially as well. Simply 3 to 5 grams, 2 to 3 meals per day. All right, so that's at least where I would start, and I'm always happy to do a follow-up as well. Melissa's up next. I'm trying to adopt a more plant-based diet, but I'm concerned about lectins and oxalates. I'm reading a lot about how they are damaging, and consuming a lot of them on a plant-based diet can have bad health effects. Can you advise if this is a real issue and how to handle, or if this is something not to worry about? Okay, so it's really too bad in this industry that you're allowed to say whatever you want, and then just 2 years later, to be like, oh, yeah, I guess I was wrong about that. And it affects so many people, and it's always out there. So I don't like to name names, but there's a famous health guru person out there who is most known as a carnivore doctor. And now they include fruit, honey, maple syrup, raw milk, and dairy. They make their own ice cream. They now eat rice. They now eat potatoes. And it's so disingenuous and so harmful that for years they go on the biggest podcast in the world, and because they have an MD after their name, they can say whatever they want with no nutritional based training and no real relevant client experience. No working with tens of thousands of people on that as health, right? So it's really too bad. I mean, it is honestly too bad that that's allowed to happen. And of course, I've never changed my stance because we have 6,000 years of recorded history in Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine and all health-based communities from around the world. And all of them eat plants. It's the predominance of their diet. Because why? Well, it's the easiest thing for humans to get access to. And we have a 28-foot digestive tract. So I've so many podcasts on this, but please go to stephencabral.com/podcasts, type in oxalates. You'll find my podcasts on oxalates. Type in plant toxins. You'll find ones on that. But the bottom line is this. People who don't do well with plant-based foods always, not sometimes, always have gut-based dysfunction. And so then, again, if you're a medical doctor, and again, no offense to all of my colleagues who are medical doctors, because they're doing great work, the ones who more work from an integrative standpoint, you look at every problem as a nail and all you have is a hammer. So you're just like, oh, well, if that's affecting your gut, let's just cherry pick some research and show you why. Oh, and then let's just eliminate that. Oh, and you feel better. Yeah, of course. But you did nothing to figure out why. Because you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, you have candida overgrowth, you have parasites, so you have H. pylori, you have intestinal permeability, increased intestinal permeability. So yeah, you're not digesting those foods very well. They're fermenting and they're causing inflammation. Okay, well, what if you didn't have the yeast overgrowth or bacterial overgrowth? Don't you think you should fix the root cause? Of course you should, right? So we run the big 3 lab tests. You'll be able to see any issues you may have yourself. You can just go to stephencabral.com/shop. That sends you over to Equilife. You can find all the lab testing there. And again, you don't have to work with us. I always say that. You can work with an integrative health practitioner level 2. You can work with a qualified naturopathic doctor. You can work with whoever you want. But just know that most of these things are marketing based. They really are. And so it's unfortunate, but it is the world we live in. And so we need to work through it. Now, of course, there's always a grain of truth to these things, which is why they can say them, but they never work on the underlying root cause. We want to work on the underlying root cause so that you can eat a myriad of foods, not just one type of food, like just meat. Okay, let's get into it. Melissa's up next. I'm trying to adopt, nope, I just read Melissa's, apologies. Diana is up next, Dionna. Hey, Dr. Cabral, first, a sincere thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing what you do. After a year and a half of being so sick, your big 5, plus the gut health lab have changed my life. I'm sorry to hear you were suffering, but so happy to hear you're doing well now, Diana. So I appreciate that. Thank you for writing and letting us know. I'm in month 2 of the CBO protocol. We leave for the Barbados on March 29th. I'll still be about a week or 2 from finishing the protocol and will not have started the gut finisher yet. This is the CBO protocol that we use for gut-based issues. The CBO finisher helps heal and seal the gut wall. How can I go on vacation, be able to eat, and not reverse all the work that I've done to get better? Also, I'm not a big drinker at all, but on rare occasion. I like to enjoy a cocktail. Is there even a possibility while on the protocol? I want to enjoy vacation more, but importantly, not mess up everything I worked so hard for. Thank you. You are an earth angel. Thank you. Appreciate that, Diana. Revised from just a few hours ago. I just wanted to clarify that I'll be staying at an all-inclusive resort. I'm not sure what my food options will be. Okay. So you wrote in, though, 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago. So just kind of keep it in mind. It says that on the Ask Cabral page. Your question may not be answered for 8 to 12 weeks. So just letting you know that. If you want same-day answers, near same-day answers, please write into cabralsupportgroup.com. All right, we get so many questions and I love answering them. We're not able to go through them every day. So that's why if you want them answered by me, happy to, always will answer your questions. It just takes a little bit of time to move through all the people before you, that's all. Okay, so this is it. And the CBO protocol, the first 3 weeks is a very specific plan. And then we introduce more fruit. We introduce more starches. We introduce grains even if you want to, and you test them out one by one. The nice thing is this. When you go to an all-inclusive resort or whatever it might be, you can choose from the fruit, you can choose from and usually people bring their supplements, right? So you can do your daily nutritional support shake and just some fruit on the side. So like easy. Okay. Then what about lunch? Well, like again, you're just choosing a protein, meat, fish, legumes, beans, etc. And then you're just choosing veggies from the list. And then if you've already started to incorporate things like rice or sweet potatoes, it'll be there. So the CBO protocol is not difficult to follow anywhere you go because I essentially that's just a healthy diet. So once you've moved into month 2 like you are, very easy. And then the occasional cocktail, not a problem. 5 days in a row, not a great idea. On vacation, once, maybe twice, because you're still in the protocol. After you're done, certainly once a week to maybe twice a week. All right. So I know it's probably a little late, but I'm sure you were able to stick with it because we build these protocols for real life so that anybody anywhere can follow them. All right. And then you still get a once a week cheat meal of whatever you'd like. And then after you complete it, probably even twice a week you can get away with. Okay. All right. Thank you. This is Talutha. You spelt it out phonetically for me, Talutha. Like Tabitha. Appreciate you writing that out. All right. Thank you for having this forum to ask questions and for consistently sharing your knowledge. I have pigmented purpura dermatosis, biopsy confirmed, that comes and goes over most of my body. If you're not familiar, it's a type of capillaritis. Yes, I'm familiar. Basically, for those that aren't, it does look like patches of broken blood vessels under or right on top of the skin. All right. Do you have any thoughts on a root cause or management? For over 6 months, and currently I'm taking rutin and vitamin C. That's good because that's actually what's recommended. So that's good to hear that you're taking that. From the Equalife full spectrum vitamin C and alkalizing vitamin C. Based on research, articles suggesting this would be helpful. No noticeable effects. Did the minerals and metals test, the Candida metabolic vitamins test, food sensitivity, taking daily nutritional support, daily fruit and vegetable blend, B complex, magnesium, adrenal soothe, omega-3s, and a zinc elderberry gummies, Hispro, and digestive enzymes. Quarterly detoxes for 1 year with a 21-day. Heavy metal detox, just started the CBO protocol. Okay, got it. Yes. So right now there's no known etiology for the purpura, if that's how you pronounce it, basically the inflamed capillaries. So here's what they've shown to be somewhat successful. They put people on immunosuppressants, which certainly, in my opinion, I can't give you medical advice. I don't think that's a great idea. Or rutin plus vitamin C that you're taking right now. That would be in the full spectrum vitamin C. So it's great you're taking that. It's also nice that you're taking the Hispro, which is good. We always look for this. Well, it can happen from damage to the capillaries, accidents, strenuous exercise, poor blood flow, diabetes, high blood pressure. I'm just rattling off all the things that I've researched with this before for clients. So those are a lot of the main things. So here's what we do. We don't say, oh, we're trying to cure capillaritis. I don't know why I can't pronounce that. And what we do is we look for the underlying root cause. So we would run the big 5 with you. So that's at, again, you can just go to stephencabral.com/shop, take you over to Equalife, look at the big 5. It comes with a full consultation. It comes with a full plan because that's really what you want, not just the lab results. You want a plan. But I love what you're doing though. You're doing the 21-day functional medicine detox. Then you're doing the heavy metal detox. And you're doing the CBO protocol. And the reason is we want to work on what all of the underlying root causes are, even if you're not going to lab test. So I did a whole podcast on this. And I did this again because I'm always trying to open source and teach. Like, this is exactly what we do. So I'm just always trying to share it with the world. Even if you never work with us, this is what we do. This is how we help people. This is how we're successful at helping people. Because that's our job. Like, this is what we're supposed to do. So that was episode 2988. It was just 2 days ago. So I want you to go back and Talutha, if you can listen to that, stephencabral.com/2988. It's a step-by-step. So even if you never do lab testing, these are the kind of protocols that you would begin to move through. And I do believe that you're on that right path because we want to look at any autoimmune issues or deeper heavy metals or gut-based dysfunction for sure. All right. All right. Let's see. Can I do one more question? Let's do one more question. Tin is up next. I'm 15 weeks pregnant and I'm taking my time to learn more about the prenatal and maternity health. I'm curious, what are your thoughts about the oral glucose tolerance test? It contains 75 grams of sugar in a solution and taken after fasting. I'm a bit concerned about this much sugar, plus the colorings added to that. My OB said that this is required to test for gestational diabetes, but I heard that the test can come out false and inaccurate. My FBS and HbA1s, my hemoglobin A1C, are good. I take supplements and work out. So I think it's low risk. What are the alternatives for this test? Okay. Yeah. Happy to help. So there are different. So the glucose tolerance test, for those that aren't aware, is given during pregnancy. I actually had it done to test for type 2 diabetes. I failed it, which is then when I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Okay. So, and again, I don't have any of these things anymore. So when I say I had these things, I had them between the ages of 17 years old and 27 years old. met my mentor, studied a course a lot along the way. It's just like Dr. Pete was able to help me put all these things together. And then I was healed, which was great, of autoimmune issues and Addisons disease and type 2 diabetes and insomnia and allergies and all these crazy things. But 75 grams, and the sugar is usually dextrose. Dextrose, water, and usually like citric acid and maybe some citrus for flavor. Not all of them have dyes or other nasty ingredients. So keep that in mind. 75 grams of sugar, yeah, it's not great. I'm not saying that. But honestly, I can't give you any medical advice, medical cures, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis. It's not going to harm you that much as a one-time thing. It's really not. It'd be the equivalent to drinking 2 glasses of juice. It's not. Is it ideal? No, nobody wants that big a spike of sugar. But the truth is that it's honestly, it's not that big a thing. I don't want to make it out to be nothing. The added sugar, the food colorings, that type of stuff, that would be a bigger thing, but there are cleaner solutions. Now, having said all that, again, I can't tell you what to do. My wife never did it because just like you, I know her fasting glucose. I know her hemoglobin A1C. I'm able to test that at home. And so that was not an issue for us, but for many people, it's important to know. It really is. So if someone is overweight, they're more prone to higher blood sugar, it's important to test. So I don't want to deny that. I don't want to say that that isn't true. But if someone was healthy going into pregnancy, blood sugar is healthy, they know what their glucose levels are, maybe they're even wearing a CGM or they're testing their glucose in the morning. It's something to look at. And so you have to kind of weigh the risks on your body. What I would say is I don't have an issue though with women doing the oral glucose tolerance test. I don't at all. I just don't. It's dextrose for sugar. It's just fast absorbing. You test your blood sugar after that. A couple hours later, they're going to take your blood sugar levels to make sure it comes back down. But the other truth of the matter is that most women aren't going to necessarily expose themselves. Like if people write into this podcast to 75 grams of straight sugar with no protein, no fiber, no fat, like it's just not part of their typical diet. So everybody has to weigh it. This is where bioindividuality comes in. This is also healthy lifestyle. Keep in mind, the majority of the world doesn't follow a healthy lifestyle. So I can't give them the same recommendation that I might give for my own wife, my own family that are following specific things. So hopefully you're able to read between the lines. You do what's best for you. I appreciate you writing in. Thank you all for being a part of this community. If you haven't yet taken just 10 seconds to review the Cabral concept on your favorite media player, I would love that. Helps us get a little boost in the rankings, reach more people, which is really what it's all about with this free show. So thank you so much. Take care. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.